We just celebrated Father's Day in an effort to stay on topic. I'm sure we're going to talk about all the things, but the goal is to chat all things Father's Day. Sometimes life just sucks, and sometimes it freaking rocks. We will discuss all the things from family and real estate to travel and just life in general. So take a seat, or don't, you do you, and welcome to the Lumbattis podcast. Hey girl, hey.
Hi.
I missed you.
I know, it seems like it's been, because summertime.
Okay, so it's funny because we were just in the office and we weren't just in the office. When were we talking about this?
Oh, you were talking about like you and Janelle. I was like, you met you and I. That was like a month ago? No, it was probably a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so Janelle and I did go work in the office the other day. Did she tell you about that day, by the way?
No.
Okay. It was just yesterday. It wasn't that far away. Like, it was just yesterday. There was a lot going on. Like, she had headphones on. She was listening to the meeting that was going on in Anaheim Hills because we had to be in Corona. And she takes her headphones off and she turns and she looks at me and she's like, I don't know how you do this job sometimes. And I looked at her and I'm like, you do this job too? She's like, but it's a whole nother level because... So we have 8 in escrow, right? We're supposed to close 3 this week. And one of them is being pushed off. And it happens to be for some amazing clients of mine. Mm-hmm. And so like trying to work that out, especially when my client is so sweet. He's like, I do not want to screw the buyer over. And nobody wants to screw the buyer over. Like, let's start there. But the way that...
The fact that he said that, though, with an intention, like, speaks highly of his character.
100%. And he is the boyfriend to one of the most amazing humans. We both love her so, so much. I'll have to send them this
smiling because I know exactly
who I'm talking about. Yes.
And I love them, too.
Oh, they're just amazing. And he is just so loving. I don't want to screw them over. And I said, no, I understand that you don't want to screw them over and we're not going to, but in order to protect ourselves contractually, like these are the steps that we need to take. And he's totally receptive and he understands all that and everything. So it's not like, I'm sitting here trying to make him do something he doesn't want to do. But, I don't want to get to a certain point where it's like, oh shoot, we should have done this. So I'm always wanting to educate and make sure that we make the best decision for, the client as a whole. So anyways, trying to work that out. We had an escrow fallout and it was just a doozy. Like it was so crazy. And then on that same house, we had some roofing done on the back of a patio and, the gentleman there, it's a wood like patio and it's wood color. And in the state of California code says that the wood has to be finished. So they primer it. They primered the section white, the rest is wood. So like we're dealing with that, which by the way got fixed. So he went over there yesterday and it's getting fixed. Of course it's getting fixed. Like we're not going to let anything just go. But I went and showed some of our favorite people. You love them too. A house yesterday, a condo.
I feel like this is like the guessing game.
I know it kind of is because I don't ever want my clients to think that I'm talking about them, and they know their situation, so they know that I'm talking about them, but they're the only ones that would know that I'm talking about them.
So did I get like 3 questions to guess? No, I'm just
sure. You totally can.
No, continue with your
so
story.
we're gonna be listing their house. I'm taking photos with Dennis on Friday. They haven't even been there 2 years yet.
I know exactly who it is.
Okay, so
we communicated a little bit.
We did. So
on social media.
Yes, it's so funny.
And I do love them.
They are the best and they're so funny. And then
you're like repeat customer times 3 or 4 at this point now.
So you want to know how they found me? This is, by the way, not where we're going with any of this, but we have to catch up and you get to be along for the ride.
Is this part of our business meeting?
Yeah, in case you didn't know. So Billy, you get to be a tax write-off today. Fantastic. Anyways, what was I saying?
How they found you initially.
So they found me on social media. They found me because there is every like city has their platform on social media or their page. And it was really sweet. They said, the reason why we're interviewing with you, they lived in a 1-bedroom apartment when I met them. The reason why we're meeting with you is because when people were referring you, you were replying and you weren't even saying like, I did say thank you, of course, but he's like, you were specifically saying things like, how are the kids? What's going on? He's like, you care more about your clients than just a transaction. And that is something that has stuck with me since the beginning. I don't even know if they'll even remember telling me that. So I helped them buy their first house. and then we sold it. I helped them buy the house that they're in, and now we're going to sell it, and I'm helping them buy their next one that they're going to move into. And crazy enough, we walk in to see the house last night. And it was later. It was like 7 because they had to get off work and get there. And so I was like, and this agent is super rad that I'm going to be working with. Hopefully, it's just all going to work out. And we walk in and we walk upstairs, and one of them looks at me and goes, "I know the owner." And I was like, "You do?" And they couldn't place where they knew the owner from. And I'm like, "You guys," we're all upstairs whispering. And I'm like, "You guys, I'm just going to ask her name." And they're like, "Okay, yeah. So we walk downstairs, and I'm all, "Hey, what questions do you guys have?" And, this and that. So they're asking questions about the community and stuff. And I said, "I only have one more question. What's your name?" And she tells me her name. And they were like, "You were our dog walker. Oh my gosh." So they got to catch up there. And she was asking about their dogs, and it was so sweet. Anyways, it was a very full circle moment. I love when those things happen. And now, obviously now she loves my clients, so she's going to have to accept our offer. But anyways, we just celebrated Father's Day.
We did.
And I want to know, our Father's Days, I'm sure, were so different. First of all, neither one of us are father. Let's start there. But how does it work for your family when it comes to holidays like that?
Well, because I'm divorced, we split holidays, and then obviously Father's Day would be one that my ex-husband would want, and Mother's Day. However, our situation's a little bit unconventional because he is a fire captain, and so his shift schedule dictates which days he has off, and then in turn dictates our custody schedule. So it's not like I have them every Tuesday. It ranges, and even still, I can look on a calendar and say, "Oh, I know this year I have him on Christmas." Next year, I can look as long as he stays on that same shift. However, sometimes he gets forced hired, and which means that he has to stay at the station or he has to come in on a day that's not his shift. And that happened with Father's Day. So I had the girls on Father's Day.
Was he bummed?
I think so, but we've been divorced 5 years. We were married 14, together 20. For 25 years, this is life. You know what I mean?
Is that hard, though?
When I was married, initially, it was for things that we wanted to plan with the kids and parties. So I think that's probably why my transition into single life was very easy, because I'm so used to going to parties by myself or church by myself or a family gathering by myself without my partner. And I just had to be willing, and it was fine. I kind of grew up with a dad who worked all the time, and so he was inconsistently at events or not. But I think he was bummed, but they celebrated Monday. So it's just, they just shift a day over, and that's all that counts, is spending the time together. So I had the girls. Okay. And they came with me to spend time with my dad, their grandpa, which was nice. And my parents live up in the high desert, so it takes like an hour. It's like a road trip. And then if it's a Sunday on the way home, it's like an hour and a half because of all the Vegas traffic. And so I'm finding time in the car is really wonderful for the teenage years, because they're forced to be in a closed space with you. And not that my girls are pretty open anyways with me, but
they're not on their phones constantly.
Well, they will get on their phones. I'm like, "Get off your phone."
Oh, my kids will literally put earbuds in, and we won't even, because we drive out to Havasu a lot, and I won't hear from them for 4 hours unless they're hungry or have to pee.
If I allowed that, which I do many times. But if I allowed that, that's what they would do choose. Too. However, I like to, I'll get an audiobook for us to listen to.
That's smart.
Or we'll listen to a podcast, or we'll listen to music. I choose 3 songs. Each girl chooses 3 songs, and kind of do that kind of route, because I want some connection. And then at some point, it might be 30 minutes on the drive. It's like, okay, fine, you can go on your phone.
Right.
But this time, when we were driving, I wanted to set the expectation for our visit and what I was expecting of them for Father's Day. My parents live, like I said, an hour away. I don't get to see them that often. And lately, I've been trying to think of life backwards, and I've heard this several times on different podcasts.
Here comes the therapy people. Oh, Nicole, I always tell her, you are my friend. What did I call you? Friend friend-apathy or something. I put therapy and friend together somehow. And I was like, I get that so much from Nicole. She's so insightful and so wise beyond her years that I love it. Okay, so go.
I appreciate that.
Well, me too.
So there's this, like, if, for instance, this is what I said to Jules, and then I can further explain. I said, I don't want you on your phone. I don't want you in the back room on Instagram or whatever it is. We're going to only be there a few hours. Mm-hmm. I want you there present with your grandparents. I said, who knows? And of course, because I'm incredibly emotional, I start like crying as I'm saying this. And I said, who knows? We'll be lucky if we have 10 more Father's. I'm going to start crying again. If we have 10 more Father's Days with my dad.
Yep.
And she's like, what? How do you know that? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm not psychic. I don't know that, but Grandpa's 81. Yeah. Like, the average life expectancy is late 70s, and he's already surpassed that. It's not like he's like in some great physical shape. Not that he's super unhealthy either, but for him to live to 91, like, that's a pretty long time.
That is very eye-opening. Mm-hmm. And really quick, just to jump in here, my girlfriend came over last night to drop off her son, and we hadn't caught up in a while. So I'm like, you need to sit down. We have to talk. So we were sitting down, and she stayed. We literally talked for 3 hours. She didn't leave my house till after midnight, and I'm in bed by 10. Mm-hmm. So we were talking, and she was saying that how she was telling her husband, we probably have lived half of our lives already. And her husband's like, oh my gosh, you're so morbid. And she's like, no, but the reality, we're 44. If we lived to 88, we have lived half of our life. So that's I'm glad that you were able to take that out of it.
And Jules started to get emotional as well. And it really impacted her. And I told her, like, we need to live life backwards because that's the only way that we can, like, truly appreciate it. And even though I know this, I fall victim to not doing that too. Like, being addicted to my phone or busyness and not being present. And so that's something I'm really trying to be more mindful of, especially with my kids, because that's something too. It's like, she's going to be a freshman in high school. I have 4 more years until she graduates. Possibly 4 more summers. And there's some study that just came out recently, and I'm going to botch up the actual statistics, but something like the 80% of the time that you're going to spend with your kids is done by the time they graduate high school.
That's so
sad.
So
after they graduate high school, 20% is left. And it just gets less and less as they get older and have other obligations. And so even Jules is like, that's so sad. It is sad, but that's the only way that's going to make you really appreciate today.
Yes.
So when we got to my parents, she barely touched her phone. The only time she touched it was to take some pictures. And she was so sweet. She's like, let me get a picture of you and Grandpa and look at each other. And then she picked it up to show him pictures that she was engaged. She was asking questions. So I think it really impacted her. So it ended up being a lovely Father's Day. My dad loves pie, so we brought him a Polly's pie. He loves peach, but peach isn't in season. So we got strawberry and had a little barbecue and spent time with them and then left. It was a lovely visit.
I love that. That is awesome.
What did you do?
Okay, so every Mother's Day, Sweetie Pie's like, what do you want to do? This year, I'm like, I have no idea. So he planned
He asks you what you want to do for Father's Day?
Mother's Day. Sorry, Mother's Day. No. Did I say what? Father's Day?
You might have said Mother's, but I was thinking because we were on Father's Day.
No. Yeah, totally. So normally I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. And he, for Father's Day, is always like, I don't care. Whatever. This year, however, it was almost opposite. He tells me exactly what he wanted to do, and this year I had no clue. So he was like, I want to go to Havasu, and I want to spend time on the boat. I want your parents to come with us, and I just want to relax. And I'm like, okay, it's a 4-hour drive to Lake Havasu from our house. Is that relaxing for you? And he was like, it's fine. He doesn't mind driving, so it works out really, really well. So he's like, yep. I'm like, okay. So we did dinner at home one night. Carson took his bike and he went bike riding with his friends. They have a like bitchin' skate park. So he went bike riding with his friends and stuff. We spent all day on the boat. Our friends were out there at the same time as us, and it happened to be their daughter's birthday weekend. And we love this family, and we love their daughter. We love their son too. But because it was the daughter's birthday, we love her so much. And we were just like, how cool that we get to celebrate Kayla's birthday with her. So my girlfriend's parents have a house in Havasu, but it makes them nervous to like take their boat out, not take the parents' boat out. It makes them nervous, like when it's just them, you know, because they don't do it all the time.
Sure.
So my girlfriend had hit me up and she was like, do you mind if we jump on your boat with you guys? And I'm like, absolutely not. So it worked out perfect. And then David wanted to be home on Sunday, though. He wanted to come home first thing Sunday morning. So Sunday morning we woke up and my dad was already up. And so he made coffee for everybody. And then my mom wandered out and they kind of drank their coffee and stuff like that and just enjoyed the morning a little bit. We went and cleaned up the house. It takes us, 30 minutes. Cleaned up the house, got everything packed up, drove home. He came home and he took a nap. And then I was like, can I get you a glass of wine? Like, what do you want? Mm-hmm. Now, the only thing my husband wants truly is me. It doesn't matter if it's Father's Day. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter what holiday it is. So he's like, I just want you. And not in the sexual form. Well, I mean, he probably wants the sexual form too. But I mean, like, he just wants like my undivided attention. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay. And so I made him dinner.
I saw that on Instagram. It was so good. I was so jealous.
So good. And my brother and my sister-in-law came over. And then our friends didn't have anything going on. And so David's like, yes, tell Joey and Kristen to come over. So they came over with their kiddos who we love. And we had the best dinner. The guys went outside and smoked cigars while I did dinner with my mom and the girls, and we just chit-chatted in the kitchen and stuff. It was so fun. It was like a 1950s Father's Day. Yeah. It was so lovely. And at the end of the night, I said, did you have a good Father's Day? He's like, I had the best Father's Day. He's like, I love going out there and really enjoying, all the things. And I said, good. I'm so glad. I also have to say, I'm really lucky because my husband is very inclusive of my family. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the lack of relationship that we have with his family too. Mm-hmm. And it always makes me sad, not sad, but just it makes me think like, do you want to be doing something different? Do you want to be included in other things that we're not necessarily included in? So sometimes too, it brings up a little bit of not trauma per se, but just feelings that. So I asked him, I said, did you call your dad? And he goes, yes, I did. And I said, okay, good. I said, what are they doing today? My niece graduated on Father's Day. Oh. Isn't that weird?
That is weird. And Sunday? I thought graduations were like Saturdays.
I thought so too.
Was this college?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking Friday or Saturday. That is odd.
My niece got her bachelor's in psychology. I am so proud of her.
That's amazing.
Incredible. She has gone through, and it's her story to tell, she has gone through a lot in her 21 years, that almost 22. Her birthday's coming up next month. And for her to do this on her own and just, I'm like, do you realize how amazing you are, right? Like, you understand that. I need her to understand that. We have her party on, her graduation party on Saturday. So anyways, cool. They were going down to her graduation that day. So, and David, not that he wouldn't have wanted to go to Emily's graduation, but it would have been a long day driving. She goes to UCSD, so driving down to San Diego and doing that and stuff, it would have been something that David wanted to do anyways. But I remember Father's Days past when we used to jump around and we would go to both sides of the family and then, okay, sweetie pie, now what do you want to do? Or we would go away for the weekend and then come home and jump around. And it worked. It was fine. But it was just nice to see him happy and in his element and really enjoying time with his boys too. I got some really great pictures of them on the lake, and we didn't do the tube. It was actually really, really busy in Havasu this weekend. It was so busy one day when we pulled out on the lake, we had waited in this long ass line to launch the boat, which that's normal. The lines are normal and stuff, but this was really bad. And a part of me was like, we should just turn around, drop the boat off and go to the Nautical, which is a resort that they have there. And you can go in the pool and, have cocktails or whatever. So anyways, we launched the boat. It was so choppy. It makes me so nervous. And David is the best boat driver to the point where he will not avoid wakes. That's not something you can really do, but he knows how to turn into them so that it's so great. So I'm so grateful. And I always tell him, when I'm telling you how to drive the boat that I've never really driven in my life, it's not because I think you're doing a bad job. It's not because I know what I'm doing. It's strictly because I'm scared. So I need you to be really patient with me. And when you're on the lake and you have that many people on the boat and people get killed all the time on the water, all the time over stupid shit, stupid mistakes. Like, I get where his level of frustration comes from, but hear me out, brother. Like, I'm just a little freaked. Chances are he probably is too. And here I am making it worse. But anyways, he did so good. We got up to the sandbar. We met up with some friends of ours. It was wonderful. We had a really good time. And then everybody left. And yeah, that was pretty much it.
That sounds lovely.
I know. It was a lot of fun. I hope that as my boys get older too, they'll make sure that they do the things that they want to do. So you kind of had mentioned like where you were living backwards. And I love that analogy. I've never heard that before. So thank you for sharing that. Where I think we're a little different because, when we got home, by the way, I called Jacob on the way home and I'm like, hey, I said, I never heard back from you. I don't know what you guys are doing. I knew that they had plans to go down to the beach to celebrate with Ashlyn's dad. And I said, just let me know what your plans are. We're on our way home. And he calls me and he's like, I thought you guys were coming home Monday or Tuesday. Now, mind you, we had a conversation. I talked to that kid at least 3 or 4 times a week. And so I said, no, buddy, remember, like I had said, we were coming home. Dad has his office meeting. He has work. Like, he has to be back. And he was probably busy working when we were talking. And I was calling him on the way when I was on my way to an appointment. So he's like, oh, I feel bad. He's like, can I come by? We weren't home. He's like, I was going to try and maybe come by with donuts and coffee. And I'm like, don't feel bad. It's fine. Like, it is what it is. And so I hang up and David's like, they're not coming. And I was like, no, they made plans to go to the beach, which I knew they had done. And he's like, okay, it's fine. We really, as parents, really try to make a hard effort to be very understanding when things don't go the way that we would have loved for them to have gone.
Sure.
So anyways, we just go on with our day. And I said, don't worry, we're going to barbecue tomorrow. Like, we're going to do something tomorrow with them. And he was like, okay. And I could tell he was bummed. Like, I could tell he was totally bummed. But it's something, he has his own family now. Like, it's something we have to be accustomed to. We need to be understanding in those things because having people in your lives that are not is very difficult. And we know that firsthand too. So I said, don't worry, we're going to do something with them tomorrow. And he goes, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll barbecue or whatever. And so I was upstairs doing something and David goes, Lauren, Jacob and Ashlyn are coming. And I was like, what? And he's like, they're coming. And I was like, for dinner? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, perfect. And so when they walked in, I told him, I said, your dad is so happy that you are here. Thank you. And I said, but what happened? And he's like, we got to the beach early. He's like, we went for an early lunch instead of having dinner and it worked out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it worked out. No big deal if it hadn't, but it was just so great that it did. So David got it. And Jared didn't work because he normally has his firefighter class on Sunday, but he passed that.
Nice.
With a 98%.
Awesome.
So happy for him. It was his EMT classes, which are really difficult. And so I'm really proud of him. So his schedule, he was off on that Sunday thinking that he had school, forgetting that it was over. So he needs to tell his job and he'll get that all rectified, I'm sure. But he had all of his boys there. We went in the spa.
That's really cool.
It was really, really nice. And I told him, I'm trying to wait on you hand and foot. And so I asked him, do you want a drink? Can I get you a glass of wine? And he's like, no, I think I'm good. I'm like, okay. He was bringing stuff in from the car from Havasu. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting on the couch and I was sending out an email and I hear the bottle of wine open and I'm like, I wanted to get you that wine. Like I'm trying to serve you because my husband is very much a servant's heart. He he loves to serve people. He wants to dote on people and do things for people. That is very much a way that he shows his love for people. And so I wanted to return that to him. And it's funny because he loves to give it, but he doesn't care whether or not he received it. He would rather have, quality time and physical touch for sure. So it was really, I'm like, please let me know when you're ready for the next bottle of wine or glass of wine. And he was like, okay. And instead he made me a basil lemon drop martini and
saw
stuff.
that too.
Girl,
that's great.
They're bomb. Like really bomb.
I've never had that kind of martini.
Well,
I just started my venture into martinis like the last year.
What? Are you sad you haven't started sooner?
I am. So I know I love the lychee martini.
Those are delicious. Did you get it at Din Tai Fung?
No, I haven't gone there. I've had it at Nobu and I've had it at P.F. Chang's. Two very different experiences, but equally as good.
Okay.
Surprisingly, the P.F. Chang's one, I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. And then I love espresso martinis. That's where I started. And then a chocolate martini, but the best is a mix of espresso and chocolate.
From where?
I'm not particular. I'm trying to think. Was there a place?
Yes, there was, and I can tell you where it was.
That I had it?
Yes, it was with me.
Yes, in Havasu. That's right. Yes.
Martini
no, but
Bay.
I got a chocolate one there.
Oh, you didn't get the chocolate espresso?
Oh, maybe I did.
Did I order for you?
I think I got the chocolate. But you're right. That might have been my first
martini.
Espresso martini experience was with you.
Well, then it totally was chocolate espresso because it is delicious. They also make one that's like Reese's. It's so amazing. Yeah, Martini Bay is fantastic.
I just hit me. I know the best. It was like a mix of a dessert espresso and not necessarily chocolate. It might have been a hazelnut with it. And it was at a place on Lido Island.
Ooh.
Fig and, oh my God.
Fig and Olive?
No.
That's
Something
not
like
Lido.
that.
That's in Newport Coast.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name suddenly, but they have rabbit as an appetizer. I got that and I had that for the first time, which was delicious. But as my dessert drink, I had this and I was like, I've never had something so good.
What was it?
It was this dessert chocolate / hazelnut, whatever. The bartender was like, oh, I'll make you, because I said, can you do like a half espresso, half chocolate? And he's like, I've got you. He's like, I'm going to make you something good. And so I don't know exactly what was in it, but it was delicious.
I love hazelnuts. I feel like the United States really missed the mark because in Europe, you can get hazelnut everywhere. Here, not so much. And it drives me wild. When I go to Europe, I get bars and bars of hazelnut chocolate because I think it's so delicious. Back to martinis. You really want the best chocolate martini? Regular chocolate, best martini ever, in my opinion, is at the Del Rey.
Oh.
They freeze their martini glasses and then they roll it in chocolate shell. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like they put it over the ice cream and it like hardens up. They roll it in that. And then they make your martini with Godiva chocolate liqueur.
Oh, wow.
It is so ridiculously good. It is fantastic. But I have to tell you, if I have two, I get a headache.
Oh, really?
I'm so sad. I need to figure this out because I am not partaking in the martini drinking as much as I used to. And so I think my brain is like, you really don't like this. And I'm like, yes, I do. Not like this, but I don't want to feel like this. Yeah. But it tastes so good going down that it's worth the headache. I'm going to pop some Motrin and I'm going to feel better. Yeah. And it's funny, I'm not feeling anything or anything. It's just, it's weird. And as you get older, I know things change, but the Del Rey 100% they have incredible drinks. I will also tell you, Joe's Stone Crab in Las Vegas, Nevada.
That is one of your favorite places.
It is in the continental United States. It is one of my top, probably 5 restaurants that
says a lot.
Yes. Well, that and the Del Rey, those are probably in the top 3 for sure. And Joe's is probably number 1.
Wow.
Yes, of the 2, because they just have amazing food. But they have a key lime pie martini that is dipped in graham cracker crust, phenomenal. It's so good. So now we need a trip to the Del Rey and Las Vegas.
Sounds good to me.
And Lido Island, because I need to get me a hazelnut whatever. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, either way, I'm so glad that you guys had a great Father's Day. I'm really going to take, moving forward, I'm going to take what'd you say? Living in the future?
No, living backwards.
Living backwards. I need to remember that because I really think that is key to living a true, and that's such a great point. I'm going to have to, I think my kids take advantage, and I say this very lightly, they take advantage of the fact that we live down the street from my parents because my kids see my parents every single day. If my dad doesn't swing by on his way home from work, my kids run down there because my parents have all the fun snacks and they have dessert. Carson will show up at my parents' house and my mom's like, what's up, Car? And he's like, I came to just hang out and eat a couple Skittles. And so he'll take the lid off my parents have a little jar like my grandma used to and my great grandma used to. He takes the lid off. He sits on his phone. He scrolls through his phone and pops Skittles. And my mom says that it's the best. She's like, he just wants to be with us.
Aww.
Don't need to talk. Don't need to say anything. We can watch our shows. You know, he doesn't need anything. And then he'll get up and he'll be like, okay, Grammy, I'm going to head home. And then he heads home. She's like, and it's just the best. So I think a part of them takes, or they'll take their bikes over and have my dad help them fix it. Or Jared just bought a truck. That was one of the things that happened yesterday. And so I'm sure he'll be down at my dad's, you know, doing things and stuff. So I think they almost take it for granted how much they have them, which I'm grateful for that they have them so much. But I am going to teach them, hey, living backwards. Okay. Living backwards, like you probably only have X amount of years with them if we're lucky. So that's the tidbit that I'm taking from today's podcast. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.